Standing tall and confident, he is one of the most widely respected politicians ever to grace the halls of Parliament in Trinidad and Tobago. But Dr. Lenny Saith never demands respect from anyone. By his stature, his cool, quiet demeanor, and the considerable store of managerial and leadership skills he possesses, he commands an abiding respect from people at all levels, especially those who have worked closely with him. One such person was Martin Joseph, who served with Dr. Saith both in the Senate and in leadership positions in the People's National Movement.
Dr. Saith, I think you know, was at one time the managing director of Trinidad, and I think that operating at that level brought a certain amount of competency and capability. I guess project management would have contributed to a large extent. So he was not just about technical, but he also understood the importance of people in delivering results. So he treated people with respect, and as a result he got respect in return. My experience was that he made you operate at levels that you yourself did not believe that you were capable of doing.
He said another remarkable thing about Dr. Saith was that he had no airs about him. Haughtiness and pomposity were simply alien to Lenny Saith.
He never saw position as stature. So he never talked down to people. He endured to people. And it was genuine. So people loved wanting to work with him.
Lenny Saith points out that he was one of 9 siblings whose parents were very poor. His father worked in a transport contractor's yard in Chaguanas and could not afford to send him abroad to study. So the young Lenny decided to make use of whatever scholarship opportunities came his way. But he was not solely focused on his own future development. Unselfishly, he was also determined to help his brothers and sisters to the extent that 8 of them went on to become professionals.
My generation went from poverty to education to professionalism. And it is a generation that also went from colonialism to independence to republic. People like myself, nobody will have that experience again, to move through that kind of change in the country. Change in the country and change in their own status in life. My children will never experience that. My forebears never experienced it. We were lucky, I was lucky. People of my age, of my time, lucky to have gone through that in this country.
Lenny Saith shares the start of his academic career with world-famous writer, Nobel Prize winner Sir Vidya Naipaul and former ambassador and former head of the civil service Reginald Dumas. At different periods, the 3 attended both the Chaguanas Government School and the Queen's Royal College in Port of Spain. True to his aspirations, Dr. Saith was later awarded 3 significant scholarships that would impact considerably on his distinguished professional career. The first was a Government of India scholarship, 1955 to 1958, followed by a Trinidad and Tobago Development Scholarship, 1959 to 1960, and then a Government of Canada Commonwealth Scholarship, 1966 to 1969. In 1958, he obtained his Bachelor of Engineering degree at the University of Roorkee in India. This was followed by a Diploma in Highway Engineering from the University of Durham, England in 1960. Next came a Master of Applied Science in Highway Engineering from the University of Toronto, Canada in 1968, followed 1 year later by a Doctor of Philosophy degree in Transportation Planning from the same university. In 1994, Dr. Saith attained what he considered his crowning academic achievement when, as an honor student at the University of Roorkee, he was conferred with the Doctor of Engineering degree. Much later, in 2010, Dr. Saith would be one of 5 outstanding individuals from the Indian diaspora in the Western Hemisphere, upon whom the Government of India would bestow the most prestigious award it could confer upon a person of Indian origin. Called the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award, its other recipients are Prime Minister Kamla Prasad Bisesa, former Prime Minister Basdev Pandey, former Guyana President Bharath Jagdeo, and Sir Sridath Ramphal, former Commonwealth Secretary General and former Guyana Foreign Minister. Prior to playing a key role in establishing the multidisciplinary planning and engineering consulting firm Trinto Plan Consultants Limited in 1971, Dr. Saith served in a number of senior positions with the Ministry of Works, among them Chief Planning Engineer and Chief Construction Engineer. It was while he was in these leadership positions at the Works Ministry that the ministry undertook a number of landmark projects that would define much of Trinidad's road network. They included construction of the Lady Young Road, the Beetham Highway, the Solomon Hochoy Highway, and the Churchill-Roosevelt Highway.
It was a challenge in terms of engineering. It was a challenge in terms of resources. We didn't have the resources we had today. And so it was that kind of challenge.
Then came Trinto Plan, a unique experiment aimed at providing the surge of engineering graduates coming out of the University of the West Indies in St. Augustine with the opportunity to participate in major infrastructural and industrial projects in the country. Among those projects were the improvement of the Churchill-Roosevelt Highway and construction of the priority bus route, Caroni Arena North Orapooch water facilities, the then Iscot Steel Plant, and the Point Lisa's industrial estate. Many of those graduating students would go on to become shareholders in Trinto Plan after participating in an employee share ownership plan, which Dr. Saith established when he contributed his own shares to the plan upon his departure from Trinto Plan. Dr. Saith would serve as Managing Director of Trinto Plan from its inception in 1971 to 1991. In 1987, at the behest of then PNM political leader Patrick Manning, he assumed the chairmanship of the PNM. His mission involved knocking the party into shape for the impending 1991 elections and helping to reverse its political fortunes of 1986, when it suffered a humiliating defeat at the hands of the newly formed National Alliance for Reconstruction. Dr. Saith approached his new task with his typical professional fervor and achieved the desired results. So impressed was Mr. Manning that he urged the astute political newcomer to deepen his political commitment.
91. So for those 20 years. And yes, when the PNM won, and contrary to my previous arrangement with Mr. Manning, that I would come and be chairman only to organize the party and do my job and get them re-elected, he says, come into government. What you did for the party, I would like you to do for the government, and is come and be kind of the CEO of the government.
Dr. Saith felt that Mr. Manning's offer to form part of the new PNM government would provide him with an opportunity to make another contribution to the country in a different form, and that is when he resigned from Trinto Plan and turned a new professional leaf. His first official posting in the new government was as a government senator and leader of government business in the Senate, responsible for the organization and management of the government's legislative program in the upper house. In spite of his definitive role in getting the PNM into shape for assuming office and the several ministerial portfolios to which he would be assigned during his political tenure that would last up to May 2010, Dr. Saith insists on being referred to as an engineer rather than a politician.
The political side has never been much of an interest to me. By that I mean politics of government. The management of government has been my interest. That has really been my interest. That's why I was never a candidate. That's why I was quite happy to be a senator and do my work basically as a manager, an engineer, bringing management experience to government.
Former Independent Senator Mary King interacted with Dr. Saith during the 8th Parliament when they both sat in the upper house between 2001 and 2007. She too was impressed with the unwavering respect he received from all sides of the Senate.
I think he was a towering person in the Senate. Can't imagine anyone being disrespectful to Lenny Saith. That would have been just unheard of. I think he managed his Senate very well. I think he managed bills coming to the Parliament in such a way we didn't have long hours and into the night. And yet they were very efficiently, the bills were very efficiently passed without these long hours that are happening nowadays. There's no need for that. He was a good manager, definitely.
Another significant role Dr. Saith filled in the Manning government was that of acting Prime Minister, having been appointed to act in the top job on several occasions during the Prime Minister's absence from the country.
The unfortunate things about Dr. Saith is that a lot of people in the country didn't understand Dr. Saith, and as a result couldn't understand why the Prime Minister, Mr. Patrick Manning, would have allowed him to act as Prime Minister in his absence. Remember, there used to be the big hue and cry that he wasn't an elected person and it should have had elected people functioning. But Dr. Saith possessed those qualities for which it is that we just spoke about that caused him to, again, in the absence of a Prime Minister, have the kind of respect, that went along. And as I said, of course, people to perform, and he didn't have no hidden agendas and he didn't have any of those things. It was a joy to see when he acted that there was no pretensions, there was no need for all of the things that people normally like to associate with power. That wasn't Dr. Saith at all.
Dr. Saith attributes much of his professional development in and out of Parliament to the support of his wife Radhika, daughter of the venerable parliamentarian Lionel Frank Sukaran, and their two daughters, Rema and Malini.
The one thing I haven't talked about is my wife. She's been a tireless social worker. But her support to me, in good times and in bad, is what has meant a lot to my own development, and my own status, I think, as an individual in this country. And I want to acknowledge that.
Dr. Saith says there's a lot that he is proud to have been a part of, particularly if it is felt that he has been able to make a contribution to national development. And if he had to do it all over again, would he do it the same way?
Given the same opportunities.